welcome you into another edition of A Better Way to Food Truck. My name is Jay McFarland. We're going to meet another food trucker today. His name is Simon Willis. Simon, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi Jay, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad to do it, and I'm very excited to kind of learn about you and why you decided to get into the food truck business. Start off with a little bit of your background and how you ended up driving around wanting to sell food to people.
Well, it actually started out with my wife. Her family is into the food business. Her mother owns some restaurants in Thailand and Japan, and she's from Thailand. I met her down in Florida about 12 or 13 years ago. I should probably know that. No, but she's always wanted to open a restaurant, and we were considering opening a full-fledged brick and mortar. But we decided to go with a food truck because it was much easier and cheaper to get into. So we were able to find just a regular box truck on the side of the road for sale, and we bought it. And over the course of a year, we had it painted, put all the equipment inside, and next thing you know, we're driving around in a giant green food truck.
So you did all of this with no prior knowledge of the food truck business. You had restaurant background, but you just how did you know how to build this thing out? How did you know the requirements and all of these things? Because I mean, this is a major undertaking. You have to follow codes and guidelines. It's no small thing to just open a food truck.
Right. Yeah. So I did a lot of research, a lot of Googling. I contacted our health department and asked them what I needed and stuff. Uh, Fortunately, in a small town, it's a lot easier to get the information you need and pass inspections and things. So it was a bit of a battle, but it took us a year from womb to tomb to actually get this thing going.
Mm.
So within that year of actually building the truck out, building the truck and installing all the stuff, we were able to get the answers we needed to be able to pass all the inspections and actually get on the road. So
That is fascinating because then you have this food truck, but you've never been in the food truck business. I imagine
right.
there's a pretty steep learning curve when it comes to where you take your truck, when you take your truck, and those types of things.
There was at the beginning. In fact, we were actually kind of surprised when we first set sail and we were heading down the road. We were kind of really anxious and nervous inside, not sure what really was going to happen. But we pulled into a local gym down the road here, and they let us. Called them ahead of time, and they let us park there. And so we pulled into the parking lot, and we opened the back door to the truck, and there was about six cars that just followed us into the parking lot wanting food. So, and we're like, oh crap! Now we need to actually make food. So, and for the first few weeks, it was a little unsteady because at one point, a couple days into it, we didn't have a printer. We were writing tickets out, giving people numbers that they'd hold on to, and I would shout out the number out the window, and they would come up and pick it up. But it didn't work out too well because eventually we would have like 20 people waiting for food, and I'd lose track of who ordered what. It was just
Mm.
getting so out of hand. So I ended up getting a printer set up, and through our Square point of sale system, a ticket would print out with the number on it. And what we also ended up doing is getting pagers. So we would give the users or the customers pagers, and we would just simply page them when the
Oh,
food is
so
ready.
like
And
the
that
restaurant
actually,
style pagers.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah. And
yeah.
it works out fantastic because they're able to wait in their car. If it's during the winter, they can wait in a warm car. If it's during the summer, they can wait in a nice cool car. They're not uncomfortable at all. So they can, as soon as the pager goes off, they climb out of the car and come pick up the food.
So you've added some of those restaurant techniques to your food truck business to make life a little bit
Right.
easier for everybody.
Yeah.
So to talk a little bit about the menu creation process. I mean, this is not like a normal restaurant where you're going to have this kind of wide menu, appetizers and desserts and all of these things. You're only
Right.
able to offer a few menu items here because of the nature of the food truck business. How did you decide what you were going to serve, and did you have much confidence that that product would want to be purchased? And have you changed your menu a lot since you first got involved?
Well, we actually change up the menu every day. So every day we have a different menu. We do have a few staples that we have to stick with. Pad Thai, for instance, is a real popular dish, and we have to have that on the menu.
Mm.
Otherwise, we get a bunch of slack for it. And crab rangoon and spring rolls. Those three items we have to keep on the menu, but everything else we kind of rotate. So, but as far as the quality and and the confidence that it'll sell. Uh, she's been cooking for me for years, so I know exactly what's good and what she needs to put on the menu. And fortunately, she's an excellent cook, and she knows uh, she has very good taste buds, so she knows what's good and what's not. So yeah, pretty much everything she makes is excellent.
Well, that's fantastic. I wish I could say that about my marriage. So let's talk about naming the food truck. This is, I think, maybe one of the most important things. I mean, you're going to have a logo and a banner. If it's not appealing, they may not want to come up to the truck. So, tell me how you came up. What is the name, and tell me how you came up with the name.
Yeah, the name is Thainamite, kind of like dynamite.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, so what we did was we came up with a list of about 10 names and we posted it on Facebook and gave the list to friends and family and tried to get an idea what everybody would like. We had walk and roll,
Hmm.
which is one. Uh, but and we had a bunch of kind of you know how food trucks their names are kind of funny or interesting and stuff like that. We didn't really want to go that route. We wanted to go with something that was more brandable and so we went with Thainamite, um, and it's quite fitting for us, I think. And the logo was actually designed by a friend of mine, Paul, and he's done some artwork for me in the past, but he did an excellent job on this logo.
Yeah,
We
I
really love
really
it.
I love it. I think it's a great look and sends a great message. Do you pronounce it Thainamite? Is it a flashback to a '70s sitcom by any chance?
It is,
I
yeah.
I suspected when I saw it. I mean, that's the first thing that entered my mind, right? That's very good. So again, back to the food truck industry. There's so many differences between setting up a restaurant and uh, you have your one place. You probably have your same customers every single day. This is such a unique type of business because you're going to different locations. How do you manage that? Do you go to the same location so that people get used to you? Are you always in different locations? What is your methodology? Because I'm sure it's different for different food truck operators.
Right. Yeah, in the beginning, we were going to different places and kind of because that's kind of like the when you think of a food truck, you think mobility and you think, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
what they need to do. They need to park in different
Right.
locations. But we quickly learned that that's probably not the best case. Like the best thing for us was to pick a spot and stay there because whenever you post on Facebook and get your word out that where you're at for the day. People generally start to remember where you're parked at throughout the week and your times and stuff like that. So we quickly uh, decided to just pick one spot and stay there just for that fact, so the customers know where we're at and our times and things like that. So,
So you are building a regular clientele then.
right, right.
I bet
We
they
do, we
loved.
do, do we do events sometimes though too. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody calls us up and wants us to go to, um, uh, I don't know, a music festival or a wine tasting festival, for example. We do those periodically, not too often. But there's I get calls every day about events that they want us to attend there, but we can't do all that because our bread and butter is just parking on the street and getting
Mm-hmm.
our usual customers. Because honestly, I'll get phone calls and messages on Facebook from our usual customers that if we're at an event, they'll get upset that we're not
Oh,
we're not in
really?
our usual spot. So,
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, that means you've built up some loyalty. When people are looking forward to seeing you and your product there, that means you've achieved something for sure.
right.
So you sent me some pictures that I want to talk about. This is not a picture of a food truck. This is a picture of a motorcycle. Is it a Harley with a delivery bag on the back? What's going on here?
That's that's actually a Vulcan 1500.
Mm,
I got that used and I repainted it to make it to match the food truck. And the idea is that in Thailand they have motorcycle delivery, but they're
right.
using mopeds. I bought a bigger motorcycle, put the bag on the back to kind of emulate that style of food delivery. And honestly, I don't know. I haven't heard of any other food trucks that have motorcycle delivery, and it's been quite unique for us. We have a lot of customers that stop by just to take pictures of it. Sometimes we'll park it next to the food truck when we're working,
And,
and actually
and
delivering on it is quite nice.
really,
I like riding motorcycles anyway, so it worked out perfectly.
that's fantastic. And I'm sure you get a lot of looks from people who are surprised at your delivery methods.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I had one guy pull up beside me in a car, and we're driving at the time, and he's riding slowly next to me, and he leans out his window and he goes, "That's epic, man. That's really epic."
I think it's a fantastic way to do some mobile advertising. Of course, a food truck in
Right.
itself is mobile advertising. Everywhere you go, you are a billboard for your business.
Exactly. Yeah. I actually had Paul, the guy that designed our the Thainamite logo. He designed me a motorcycle version of it, and I'm getting a patch designed for a leather vest with that motorcycle version of the logo, and it says "Live to tie, tie to live."
I love it. That's fantastic. Well,
Uh,
I'm fascinated. I'd love to learn a little bit more about and share some of your knowledge about the food truck business. Uh, when did you know, like, because I know starting a new business, there's huge trepidation and you don't know how well you're going to be received. How long did it take for you to be out there with your truck before you said, this is viable, this is going to work, and we can grow and we can expand and those types of things?
honestly, it's pretty much instantaneous because when we pulled up, like I was telling you before, when we pulled up at the gym, we opened the back doors to the truck, and there was a line of cars waiting for us. It hit me just like that. It was like, oh my gosh, man, this might actually work, and it did. It worked out fantastically. So,
So that was a real kind of moment of like pressure release. Like,
relief.
hey, we're
Yeah,
actually going to be able to sell food out of this thing.
exactly. Yeah, it was quite nice of a relief.
Yeah, absolutely. What about things you wish you had done differently? You know, mistakes you made along the way that if you went back and could tell yourself, "Hey, don't do this or don't do that."
Um, Initially, it actually had to do with the design of the food truck. We were kind of running short on pennies when we were building this thing, so I used uh, a lot of wood inside, which is kind of
Mm,
stupid because we got open fire from the walk, But I mean, now that part was stainless steel, or whatever. But the other side of the truck where we serve the drinks and all that stuff was made out of wood, and that turned out to be sort of a failure because of uh, when when you're cleaning out the truck, you're washing everything down and stuff, and eventually the wood started to deteriorate. So
mm.
finally got rid of all that stuff, put all new stainless steel tables in there, all new flooring and all that, and it's perfect now. that's one thing I kind of wish that I didn't have to redo. You know what I mean? I wish I
Yeah.
would have just gone with the stainless steel to begin with and moved on.
And you mentioned you changed your system. You added a paging system.
Right.
Any other changes you've made along the way to improve your overall process and customer service?
Uh, Not much as far as the customer service. We've always been customer oriented, so we always want to uh, do as much as we possibly can for the customer. We've always been
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only real changes we've made were just to the truck itself. So we've added some, wrap and some lighted signs. We went through about 20 generators,
Oh, really?
but yeah, that's a whole other story to itself, man. We can do a generator podcast, even just 40 minutes.
Wow.
Now, yeah. So generally, there's really nothing we've really changed to benefit the customers. It's mainly just the just changing stuff on the truck.
That's fantastic. I know you guys have received some local recognition here as well. Talk a little bit about that and how that has impacted your business.
Yeah, that was a great day, man. I think it was in 2015, I think, 2016 maybe. Um, One of the photographers for the magazine came up to the truck, and he was a longtime customer, and he said, "Hey, can I take a picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And he's, "All right, you guys get together, come over here," and he started taking pictures and stuff. And the next thing you know, he sends us the magazine. We're on the cover, and there's a whole story inside with our pictures and stuff like that. So it was interesting, to
Well,
say the least.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. That's fantastic, though.
and he got a few free pad ties after that.
That's right. So, tell me, what is the future of Thainamite? More trucks. We've seen here where I'm at. We've seen trucks turn into actual brick and mortar restaurants. What's the future for you?
Yeah, actually, we did the same thing a couple of years ago. We went from food truck to brick and mortar. We had a lease on this restaurant downtown for a couple of years, 2 years, 2 years lease. Um, Unfortunately, the restaurant, the actual building itself, didn't have a kitchen in it.
Mm,
The concept was to have a brick and mortar, then have the food truck at the same time, so we could do events with the food truck, and then have our brick and mortar for our usual customers. But it didn't quite work out that well. Like I said, the restaurant didn't have a kitchen in the back, so we had to park our food truck in the back of the restaurant and
no.
service the food from the food truck to the dining room. And
Wow.
it worked out great for a restaurant, man. We had the customers loved it. The
Mm,
presentation was fantastic. It was great, man. But we went back to the food truck when the lease was up, uh, mainly because it's less hassle,
yeah.
a lot less overhead, and
Yeah.
we can take some time off if we need to, and just kind
Hmm.
of it's more relaxing, to
Yeah.
run a
Much
food
more
truck business.
flexibility
Right,
for
right,
sure. For
right.
sure. That
We do
is,
we do want to do some franchising, perhaps. So the issue we're having right now is that it's hard to find people that can uh, actually cook the food to our standard. You
mm,
know? So if we find somebody who can do that and wants to open a Thainamite truck in their area, then we'll definitely consider franchising it.
yeah, I think that would be a great way forward. Now, I also want to talk about another project that you're working on and you guys are very excited about. You're interested in helping other food truck operators. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so during the COVID times, we were kind of fearing the worst, towards the beginning. People aren't going to want to leave their house and all those things. So we got the idea that maybe we should have an app or online ordering for our customers. And I've been a developer for the last web developer for the last 20 years or so. So it kind of came easy to me to actually create a system um, that allows our customers to order ahead of time without having to pay at the window and all those things, and
Mm,
without having to stay at the window for some periods of time. So basically, what we've done is we built a native app for our users. They downloaded our Thainamite app. We have about 900 customers that have downloaded it and are using it right now. But they simply just open up the app, they place their order, they can see where we're located for the day. It's generally the same spot anyway, but
right.
they can see our location. They can see the menu for the day. They can order ahead on there, and whenever the order is ready, we have in our system we just have a push button deal. We just push the button, and it sends them off a text message that says, "Hey, their order is ready." So as soon as they get that text message, they come by the truck, they pick it up, and they go back to their office or home or wherever they're at.
Well, I love this idea.
Yeah, it's excellent. Yeah, and it's actually worked so well for us in the beginning. I created a whole software platform around it, and so now we have food trucks around the country that are actually using the same platform. They have their own native apps for their customers, and it makes it's so easy to for their customers to order from their truck. Also, it makes it very easy to get the word out where when you're setting up for the day, because we also have push notifications built into the system to where all you have to do is log into the portal and type in a push notification you want to send out to all your customers, hit go, and it'll send it out to all your customers saying, "Hey, we're set up for today. We're set up at the local, uh, I don't know, hospital or whatever."
Yeah, yeah.
And so you send out a push notification to all your customers. They know instantly where you're at, and when they click the little notification on their phone, it opens up your app, and they can order right ahead of time. And it blows my mind how amazing this system is, because whenever we send off a push notification in the mornings, before we even leave to go set up, we already have a dozen orders that come in.
Oh, wow.
So whenever we set up, we know ahead of time what we need to start making. We start preparing it all, and they come pick it up, and they go.
Boy, it really seems like a game changer for the food truck business.
It is, yeah. And actually, we do food truck Mondays here in town, and we set up with about a dozen other food trucks. And currently, we're the only ones with an order ahead option, and our line is way longer, man.
So they're
we have we have these iconic green bags that we use for that kind of matches the color of our truck. And when you look outside and you see the line of people outside and everybody visiting, you can see all these green bags walking by. So,
so everybody else is wondering what is going on at that food truck? Why are they generating so much
yeah,
business?
exactly. Yeah, I've
And
had a few
so,
people ask me. A few of the other food trucks have asked me, and I built a couple of apps for a few of them. They'll be launching those here shortly. So.
no, I love that. So basically, if I'm a food truck operator, I can get an app for my truck. It's got my logos and everything. This is not like some app that everybody uses for all food trucks. They would just download my app, and then they can know where I'm at, and they can order in advance and be notified when it's ready.
Exactly. Yep. It's a native app customized for your food truck, and yeah,
Well, I love it. And for you, this was a direct response to COVID?
yeah. Generally, in the beginning it was, but after we got it built, we realized, man, this is perfect for our daily marketing routine. We
Yeah,
just send out.
absolutely.
Yeah, and honestly, the way we have our business model set up here, where we change the menu daily, we have daily specials.
Mm-hmm.
We have a reason to send out a push notification to users. So sometimes people don't have a reason to connect to their users. So every day I'll send out two push notifications, one for lunch. Our lunch special is Mazaman curry, send that out. And then when we start getting prepared for dinner, I'll send out, hey, our dinner special is Kamut Guy or something, and send that out. And then generally the response on these push notifications is mind blowing, really.
Boy, and as you said, you're doing business before you even have arrived on location. So this will help you with
Exactly, yeah.
downtime, and you can get that ball rolling immediately. Unless you have five people following you into a parking lot, which
Yeah, well, that actually it gets a little bit. It's almost overwhelming sometimes. It can be the app can be a good thing and a bad
mm-hmm,
thing sometimes
mm-hmm,
because on let's say on a Friday afternoon, everybody's wanting to get our Friday special is cashew chicken. Right? So I'll send out a push notification. Hey, our special is cashew chicken. We get like 20 orders in right before we even set up, and then when we set up, we got people walking up to the window and ordering as
right.
well. So it can get a little overwhelming sometimes. But hey, that's a good thing, man. Those are the types of problems I love to solve.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're a systems guy and you'll figure out how to manage that on the food truck. I mean, that's a problem that so many restaurants face nowadays is they take so many online orders and delivery orders and they have a regular clientele coming in the front door and how to manage
Right,
that so that everybody feels like they're getting, cuz you have an expectation with an online order that it's going to be ready and you can just walk up to the window and get it and you're not going to have to stand in line, but then you also have the customer who's like, I need to be serviced because I'm here, I'm in front of you. So it
right.
can be difficult to manage.
Exactly. Yeah, and we actually developed a feature in the system called order stacking. And what that does is there's a little slide bar. You can select how many minutes between orders you want to set. So let's say somebody orders for 12 o'clock uh, noon, and the next person that orders through the app, their pickup time would be 12:03 if you set it for 3 minutes order stacking, and the next person would be set up for 12:06, and so on. So
Oh, I love
that
that.
putting just a few minute time gap in there between orders,
Hmm.
that really helps because I can't tell you we set up at the hospital here in town about once a month, the first Wednesday of every month, and we do the push notification to all the staff there. And the response when we do the hospital, we usually get like 30 orders instantly
Wow.
before we even leave and set up. There we have our ticket board is just completely full and
Mm.
ridiculous. So that having that 2 or 3 minutes in between orders really 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 helps in that aspect because you know they are, before we had that done, they were all coming at 12:15. They
Right.
all wanted their order at 12:15. That can't happen. So, but yeah, that
Yeah.
order stacking really really helps.
Well, and I love that order stacking also will help them arrive at the truck at different times, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like in some ways you're revolutionizing the food truck business, and I think that's amazing.
I think so. I mean, I'm not. It's much different than when we started. When we
Hmm.
started, it was we're generally just using Facebook to kind of get the word out, which is fine. I mean, the Facebook works great. We do have some people that say they didn't see the Facebook post in time to be able to come and make it to the truck that day. Um, yeah, so with this new system that we're working on, it's really a game changer for us.
Well, and I think it's going to be a game changer for other operators. If somebody has a food truck and they want to use your system, how would they go about doing that?
If they go to orderupapps.com, there's a form at the bottom they can fill out, and they can sign up for a subscription to the app service. And what we'll do is we'll take about 4 or 5 days to actually design and build the app for them, and we'll push it to the app stores. and they can start using it immediately. As soon as it's on the app stores, they can push it out to all their customers. Say, hey, come download our app. We give them a special QR code that
Mm-hmm.
their customers can scan, and that will automatically download the app to their devices. But yeah, as soon as we upload their app to the app stores, they can start using it immediately.
Well, I love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. Any other things you'd like to share with food truck operators out there from your experience, or do's and don'ts, or I mean, even would you recommend this business for somebody who's thinking I'd always like a food truck, or looking for their next venture in their lives?
Yeah, honestly, I've seen a lot of food trucks that they just order frozen food from Cisco
Mm.
and deep fry it and whatever and serve it. And that's good for sort of a short term deal. But if you really want to capture an audience and have customers coming back over and over and again, you really need to have sort of custom food. If that makes sense.
Yes.
uh, I know my wife works very, very hard, probably 18 hours a day, hand making crab rangoon, hand rolling or spring rolls.
Mm.
You're making everything. Everything's made from scratch, and it really, really shows in the end result. And customers know that. I mean, they know if they're getting quality. You know, so that really makes a difference. If you're going to open a food truck, make sure you open a food truck and don't screw around. Really, really concentrate on your food quality, and you'll be all set.
I think that's great advice. I think especially for building a brand, you've got to have something unique about you, and that uniqueness I think has to exist on your menu. I also
Right.
think in some ways you've set yourself up. I mean, your name is Thainamite, and so when they taste the food, I kind of feel like inside they need to be feeling this is Thainamite, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you
Exactly. Yeah.
set a standard with your name.
Right. Yeah. We can certainly back it up with our food quality. That's
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, this is Simon Willis. Simon, it's been a real honor getting to know you. Your journey is fascinating. I know that our food trucks out there will appreciate your story and your experience. But it also sounds like they can learn a lot from. You're obviously an innovator. You don't sound like somebody who's ever happy with your current systems. You're like, we can refine this, we can change this, and I think some the other operators out there can really learn from your experience and what you've done.
Right. And that's actually you bring up an interesting point. Is that refining things. You should always be interested in refining your business and your business
Mm-hmm.
model, but don't be scared to actually go out there and do it though, because you can't sit around and continue changing and refining without actually going out there and doing something.
Yeah,
Having
and
action.
you're not going to be perfect on day one. You're going to have real
Exactly. Yeah.
world experience. You learned a lot on your first day when you were doing those numbered tags and numbered systems. You quickly learned that with a decent amount of business, that just wasn't going to serve your needs.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Again, this is Simon Willis, food truck operator and also developer of OrderUp Apps. Changing the game a little bit here when it comes to food trucks. Simon, we really appreciate your time today. This has been a Better Way to Food Truck. My name is Jay McFarland. Thank you for joining us today, and catch us next time on A Better Way to Food Truck.
Sure. Thanks, guys.